That's not right. That didn't sit well with you.
Not at all. The Bengal hit in the end zone on Antonio Brown is a dirty hit. That was the only dirty hit of the game. I get that the Shazier deal put concern into the air and changed the tone of that game. But if you really know football and if you love football, you know how to handle that and call the rest of the game appropriately. I don't want to defend John Gruden, but part of me feels like he got dragged into this by Sean McDonough because that Juju Schuster-Smith hit, there's not a coach in the NFL or in college who would ever tell a player, don't take that hit. Burfict.
That hit, by the way, didn't. And initially, when it happened, that was a football play to me.
It's a Burfict is right there to make the tackle. This isn't a guy 10 yards trailing the play that you take a cheap shot on. This is a wide receiver taking on the dirtiest player in football who we've seen do really dirty things, and he just cleaned his clock. And so, again, I don't have a problem with them throwing a flag. I don't have a problem saying that's illegal, but it's not dirty. And so these calls for, and I know Gruden put an ejection, that's ridiculous. If Juju Schuster-Smith, this is just factual. He is being celebrated this week in Pittsburgh, in the locker room and throughout the city. He just took on the biggest bully in football and cleaned his clock.
Yeah.
Lesson learned. Burfict needed that. This is what football people believe. Burfict needed. He needed a taste of his own medicine that was not a cheap shot. Again, it may be illegal, but as a football person and as a coach or whatever, there's no way Mike Tomlin or anybody in that locker room, from the Rooney family, anybody can say, don't do that.
But it's very interesting. My takeaway on last night was let's say you got into a car wreck. The rest of the day, you'd scale back. You'd drive more slowly. You put your blinker on a mile ahead. After the Shazier injury, their friend, their brother, the violence ramped up. The hitting ramped up. The players, this is part of the culture of football. Neither coach, did you notice this, was barking at players when they came off. They weren't upset with it.
Again, these guys acted, that broadcast last night acted like this was the Pistons-Pacers Malice in the Palace. And it wasn't. There was no after the play altercations. We saw the Steelers and the Bengals get into it in the playoffs a year or two ago.
That was ugly.
That was an ugly deal. The coaches out on the field, altercations after the play. There was none of that. There was Juju Smith cleaning Burfict's clock on a play that, I'm just sorry, that's good football. Maybe illegal, but it's good football. The Bengal hit in the end zone. Illegal and dirty.
Should be a flag.
Should be a flag.
Was.
But again, in the end zone, when a team is coming back on you, and that's the only way you can get the ball out of the guy's hand.
Hey, Antonio Brown, after the game, was interviewed. Did not seem bothered by it.
Not remotely. And so, again, Sean McDonough, to me, should not be calling football, Colin.
Why?
He doesn't love the game. And again, I'm not talking about putting blinders on. I see the flaws in football. But at the essence of calling a game is selling and protecting the sport. It's not about putting blinders on, but I get irate when people want to try to turn football into boxing in the 1970s. Again, I watched that game and listened to that telecast, and I was like, and I called one of the greatest Tampa Bay Buccaneers players ever. I was like, what is John Gruden doing? Well, John Gruden's acting like he's removed from football and he doesn't understand football. He knows damn well what Juju Smith was doing. He knows damn well what this game is and was.
By the way, did you hear Big Ben afterwards?
It was AFC North football.
I want to play this. Do we have this? I thought this was a real moment in the game. Is that after the game, the reporter,
Lisa
Salters asked Big Ben about this, and he would not apologize for football. Here was his answer.
Ben, how would you explain just kind of the viciousness and the brutality of this game?
AFC North football.
That's it?
Yep.
And he wouldn't. That's it. He stopped talking. He looked at her and he went, "That's it. I'm not giving you the answer you're seeking."
I'm so tired of football backpedaling. And again, I see the flaws in football. Again, I celebrated John Gruden and McDonough earlier in the game. The officiating was the problem.
Over
with that game.
officiated, yes.
The pass interference calls that were bogus. They took a TD off the board on a punt return for a bogus call.
Awful call.
That was the frustrating part of that game. The brutality of it, the physical nature of it, that's what people are tuning in for to see. That's what football is. Don't apologize for it. And if you don't love football, don't call the games. Go host Outside the Lines. Go host Speak for Yourself. And if you want to be that critical of the game when it's just football. I came away from that game like Sean McDonough doesn't love football. Well, John Gruden has playing follow the leader, and he's gone down a path that is inauthentic to me.
Okay, let me defend McDonough on this because I think he's real talented. And I'm not a play-by-play guy, but I know him slightly. He did say something during the game that I really agreed with. He called the officials out. Now he said that call against the Steelers on that Martavius Bryant was an atrocious call. And he came out and he just said, nobody comes to watch you guys. Stop calling it. Now I thought he was great on that.
And no one comes to hear two broadcasters complain because the Steelers and Bengals are hitting each other hard. Now, again, if you want to complain about the hit on Antonio Brown and call it illegal, yes. Dragging Juju Smith into that, trying to act like, and then after the game, their post-game show, trying to act like this game was some type of tragedy and an embarrassment for the NFL. I was outraged and just bothered. It's a continuation of the attack on football that is unfair. Football is a violent game. I would love to hear these guys call a UFC fight or call a boxing match. Again, part of football is imposing your will in a physical way on the opponent. And if you don't like it, turn the damn television off.
For the record, I didn't love the call against Geno Atkins pushing Big Ben.
No, it was a bad call.
I didn't like that call either. I mean, this is, I do think you have to think about this sometimes. This will sound weird. But I've always said this in the NBA playoffs, Jason. When you get down to the last 4 minutes of a playoff series, let the players play. I do believe you have to consider as an official in a rivalry game like this that the players' emotions are going to be higher than they can sometimes control. Now, that said, I'm not saying you bury the flags, but this game is a different game than, listen, man, you and I know it. Arizona plays the Niners. They don't have that disregard for each other. This game's different.
Listen, I get going into this game, given the history, given what happened in a playoff game between these two teams, wanting to set a tone of, hey guys, we don't want any BS here. I get that, but there was none. The coaches conducted themselves properly. The players conducted themselves properly. There wasn't the pushing and shoving after the plays. We've seen bad NFL games. We've seen
the Bengals Steelers 2 years ago.
But this year we saw Aqib Talib snatch a gold chain.
That was horrible.
The whole fight between Michael Crabtree, and it went on and on. This wasn't it. And they acted like this was it, and it carried over into social media. Next thing I know, Peter King, people that I respect and understand football. Oh my God, what if parents are watching? This is terrible. Football is a tough game. It's a violent game. It is what it is. Let's quit apologizing for it. Let's quit being on the defensive about it. And if people can't sell the game properly, get them off the broadcast. The football is a great game. And yes, I'm telling it should be played by people 14 and older.
Yep.
I get all those issues.
That's me.
But we acted like, we've seen in UFC, we've seen in hockey, we've seen in boxing, real violence. I was offended and I was embarrassed for John Gruden, who I really love as a broadcaster.
Well, I think Sean McDonough is better than I'm just going to.
He should do baseball. He does not love football. The job is for people who actually love and respect the game and understand.
That seems a little harsh to me, but I did like the rest of your comments. I like Sean McDonough. I think he has a good voice.
He has a very good voice for baseball. He does not understand what football is about.
Jason Whitlock, speak for yourself later. Good stuff. I like when you're passionate.
Thank you.
I don't like when you just come in and don't have passion. When you have passion is when I like you. And today you've got a lot of passion. That was
I
great.
love football.
Yeah, so do I, Buff. So do I. If you listen to my picks, maybe you'd have a free steak from time to time. Stop arguing with me. Just take my picks. We all love cars, right? But I know cars get to a point between year 4, year 5, year 6. They're not on warranty. By the way, Whitlock's got a 10-year-old car. Get a warranty. Extended vehicle insurance coverage is called CarShield.com. A fuel pump, over $500. Water pump, cars are expensive, man. You got to get that thing on warranty. 24/7 roadside assistance and a rental car while yours is in the shop. It's called CarShield.com. Extended vehicle service protection. They'll take thousands of dollars to fix some of these issues. Not with CarShield.com. Code HER. That gets you 10% off. A deductible now may apply. They've also got a phone number, 800-CAR-6100. 800-CAR-6100, and mention the code HER.